you're worried about people being sick and dead, keep them in their rooms, in their houses, in their living rooms. If you want them healthy, get them some sunlight, get them sweating, get them running.
You know, you don't really know who you are or what you are until you put a really big challenge in front of you.
Fear is an asset and ally here to help you be magnificent.
This crazy, silly, stupid idea to run across the Sahara Desert.
You did make it this time, but you said if you didn't make it, you would try again and again.
Everybody's connected to nature, connected to music, to their families, and now we're going to build a world that doesn't have racism and war and starving kids.
I kept telling myself, run at me, and just keep smiling.
All right, how are you?
I'm alive. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm alive. It's a good place to start. How's everything in Vermont?
I think we gotta let everybody out. I think this whole lockdown is ridiculous.
Really? That's where we're starting. Okay. Just let everybody out.
We can't. Whenever our freedom and our liberty is threatened, right? We send hundreds of thousands of people to go fight wars that get killed, and so we don't value life at that point. But somehow we're valuing life. You know, I don't know if you calculate the numbers, they're probably valuing life at like $10 million a life. Why don't you do that analysis, John? Figure out how many people have died and how many trillions of dollars it's cost. Divide the two and tell me how much per life we've spent. And I like life. I'm not suggesting we kill people. You follow me?
But yeah, I'm fine. But maybe the people aren't weighing the entire picture necessarily. Well, one thing for sure is like we're certainly valuing this kind of like acute fear differently than maybe like long-term fears that maybe we should have been valuing more all along. Like people are certainly more afraid of. Like, I was just walking down the street and I saw a guy with a mask on smoking a cigarette. Like, people are more afraid of the coronavirus than they are maybe.
You gotta get videos. When you see people wearing a mask, smoking a cigarette, and overweight, that's an awesome video. I need to see that.
Yeah, you see it every day. People.
Let's keep the smoke in. Let's wear the mask and keep the smoke in. I like it. The issue is health and wellness. We let it go by the wayside. The country needs to change its slogan from "Make America Great Again" to "Make America Fit Again." Yep. I heard that there's a couple of townships that are actually getting behind it in a big way and saying, "Hey, constituents, you all need to lose weight if you want to fight this virus." All the data is showing that the unhealthy have the biggest complication and potentially death. And so it's not rocket science. Stop eating all the fucking processed foods, start moving more, and watch a little less Netflix.
Yeah, right. I was just thinking about Netflix. I've been enjoying a little bit of Netflix over the past couple of weeks, but I was just thinking about it on my run today, like, because I was listening to the podcast that you guys just did with Kristen Ulmer, who I also got to meet when I was at the Spartan World Championships. She was talking about fear and how we distract ourselves from fear. And I was thinking, man, what's a bigger distraction than Netflix?
I agree.
So we do. If we come home and we just, instead of, everybody's afraid right now. And frankly, we've got fear all the time. And what we do instead of confronting our fear is we come home and we watch Netflix. And then that's how we get into this mess, because instead of, doing the things that we needed to do all along.
Get rid of, the easiest way to get rid of fear? Easiest way to get rid of any fear. And it's going to sound silly. 30 burpees.
All right. Well, maybe that's how we can start.
You do 30 burpees, or you do burpees until the fear is gone, because what you're doing is you move the pain where your idle mind is wasting energy and time on something that is stupid. And you immediately go to a place where it's very present and you focus on, holy shit, I can't breathe. Right? And really the number one motivator, I got a couple of fear gurus in my life, like Kristen, like Patrick Sweeney, et cetera. And they'll tell you that the number one motivator is fear. But I don't know. I think the number one motivator is actually the avoidance of discomfort, based on some of the smart people I've spoken to. I think we all avoid discomfort. And obviously there's a fear component there, right? you're uncomfortable on the ledge of a cliff. You're uncomfortable 3 feet from a lion. And so, but if you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, I want to do a workout, you find yourself subconsciously going to make a cup of coffee or getting to your emails or doing things that are actually irrelevant because you're avoiding discomfort, right?
Yeah.
And so if you could be aware of that, I'm aware of it. I'm very aware of it. And as soon as I see that happening, I go right to the uncomfortable place. So not stupid uncomfortable. I'm not hanging from a ledge like Alex Honnold, right? But like breathing heavy, sweating, working hard.
Is that in a way its own distraction? Could that be its own distraction? Can you get comfortable doing, your comfortable place is burpees and you're distracting yourself from something else?
Well, what I mean is it doesn't have to be burpees. It's like, I don't feel like answering that email. So, because I want to avoid that discomfort. So I'm going to dive head first into it. I'm getting it done right. Like I literally flip it on its head. I do a 180. Anything that I quickly analyze, oh, this is uncomfortable. I understand what my legacy hardware and software is doing to me. So we're going to have at it. We're going to get this thing done.
So how would you suggest, with that in mind, like how would you suggest us just all opening up again? Because that's what you started off with, is like, hey, I think we all need to just open up and get out and go back. Like, how would you suggest doing it?
I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV, but I would say everybody's got to get the virus, or 70-80% of the people have to get the virus. You can't hide from a virus that is extremely contagious and lives on a counter for 6 days. Like, there's no way to run from this thing. Unless you say that the world has $100 trillion to blow and that it's safe and good for everybody to just stay in their homes for a year until the thing is completely gone. And so I would say, do what you do on a farm. On a farm, you take the healthy animals and you let all the healthy animals get it. And you take the sick animals and you put them in the barn and you keep them away from the thing, the threat. And so if we know that, the elderly are a problem, and the 60 million obese are a problem, well, wrap them in plexiglass, lock the door, keep those people inside, let everybody else get it, and then we got a shot. Unless there's a vaccine that comes out very quickly and everybody takes the vaccine, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, it doesn't sound like a vaccine is coming anytime soon. So in a way, just all of us locking ourselves away is hiding from the fear, rather than embracing the fear and confronting the fear.
That's exactly what's going on. And the shame is, like, when people complain about Sweden, who didn't do the lockdown, at least not on the scale we've done it in America, what nobody's realizing is you can't analyze Sweden just in this 2 or 3 or 4 week period. You have to look back 2 months from now, after everybody in Sweden's contracted it, and the deaths tail off. But yet we've all been in our house, and then we go outside, and then there's more death. Yeah. So like what they did was they just hurried up and rushed through it. They just got it over with, ripped the Band-Aid off.
Well, the other thing that you can say about Sweden, and this is actually a lesson that I learned from Spartan, and by the way, I have to say that you don't know how influential you've been in my life, but I've learned so much from Spartan. And when I did my first Spartan, I really went into that. I've done so many marathons and ultra marathons and Ironman that, like, I'm not afraid of any distance, but Spartan put me in my place, and I couldn't do the obstacles. I wasn't trained for those types of obstacles. I wasn't trained to pull myself up over a wall. I was trained to go far and forever, but I wasn't trained to climb a rope or carry heavy stones or do 30 burpees every time I couldn't. And what I learned from that is that I needed to be trained. I couldn't just go into that race unprepared. I need to train for that race if I want to do it. And the difference between Sweden and us is that they're trained. Their health system they didn't just show up on race day like we did. You can't expect to have resilience in the moment if you didn't train for that resilience. And their health system is so much more prepared than ours is to handle this.
I had that conversation with my son and daughter and my daughters this morning. I said, you practice the piano. I said, you practice math. You practice all kinds of things in life, but we are practicing adversity. Why do we have to practice adversity? I said, because life's hard. Right now, it's easy because you're bubble wrapped in our house. But once you get out on your own and lions and tigers show up and you get fired from jobs and friends die and people get cancer and shit happens, you got to practice for the tough times. So I agree with you. I mean, I had a command sergeant major on the phone early this morning, and he said to me, outside of the U.S. military, most Americans have never even missed a meal. Forget about having a life and death situation they've been confronting. They haven't even missed a meal. So I agree with you.
So it's a little bit in a way that we're all kind of, but you know, the experts are telling us that we got to be inside. It's hard to ignore that. Hard to ignore that.
I don't know. I mean, if I didn't have the farm, I'd be, I got a friend from Massachusetts where we live, and he, when the lockdown came, he went and got a boat. He put his family on the boat, and he's been fishing every day down in Florida and the Keys, and they've been living on the boat now for 55 days.
Sounds nice.
So you could go to a beach, you could set up a tent in the woods. I mean, there's like 250,000 acres here in Vermont that's no one would see you ever. Come out, get a tent. You'll never get this opportunity again in your lifetime, and live in the woods.
Yeah, I would like to be in Vermont. I'm in New York City. I would very much like to be in Vermont right now.
There's a lot of land.
I know. But it's maybe different even up there than to down here to say, that, people up in Vermont, sure, get outside. Here it might be a little bit different because the population density is not the same. But on the principle, I totally hear what you're saying. Like, we're just hiding from it right now, and we eventually have to come out. We haven't built up any herd immunity. We really haven't built up any of our defenses to this adversity. There's got to be a plan to come out of this.
You have to confront it at some point.
So how do you?
You got to confront it at some point. You might as well just get it over with.
So when this whole thing started going down, I found myself getting into like a depression. Like it was just coming over me very fast. And I turned on one of your podcasts, or maybe it was like a video that I saw of you on LinkedIn. And I only remember the first part, but it was all I needed. And you said, all right, we need to shake you up a bit. And I don't remember what you said after that, but it just snapped me out of the funk. And it helped me so much. So I just want to thank you for that, because it was like, yeah, like all this shit that I've been training for, like I haven't been training for races. I haven't been training for marathons or Spartans. I've been training for this moment. And you just like shook me out of like this like downward spiral that I was going in mentally. So, and reminded me that, I have prepared myself for adversity, and that like I've been preaching all this all along, that you got to get out of your comfort zone. And now it's time to put that to the test. So thank you for that. But how have you been, experiencing that either personally or within the Spartan community?
I lost you. How say the last sentence again?
How have you, when you talk about, shaking each other up, like how have you been experiencing that personally or within the Spartan community?
Well, it's easy for me because 7 million Spartans hold me accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to have a stoic attitude. I have to lead from the front. It's just the whole persona and narrative I've created to this global community. So I would be a fraud if I didn't do it. Even though on my fourth workout this morning, I didn't feel like doing it. I have no choice. I got to do it. Right? I don't feel like waking up at 4:20 in the morning, just like nobody else feels like waking up at 4:20 in the morning, but I have to do it. So easier for me. You guys hold me accountable. For everybody else, what I like to say is, if this was 1 year ago, Gene, 1 year ago, back up, envision where you were a year ago, and you and I were on this podcast right now, and I said to you, hey, good news. Spartans in 45 countries. I spoke to the leaders of 45 countries. We made a deal. We're going to shut the world down March, April, maybe May, 3 months. Everybody's going to stay at home. Kids are going to do Zoom for school. We're going to just get to know our families. We're going to get to know ourselves. We're going to do a test. And you don't have to travel to work. You'll be able to get in great shape, work out in your apartment. You and I would have been doing high fives. Oh my God, We can get all those books done. We never read. We could write a book. We could learn a new language. We could do all these things. But because it wasn't planned, and because we get in our own heads, we've turned something that's really a great thing into a negative thing. And so, and I, I'm an optimist. I find the positive in anything. I find the positive. Right? Oh, that guy died. Well, at least he died with a heart attack and he didn't get shot in the head. I always find positive.
My mom says that if I was in a room full of shit, I'd look for the pony.
So and the other thing is you got to have a schedule. I have a schedule, right? And I held my schedule, and I held my cold showers, and I held my burpees, and I just did everything the same way I did before. So
I control the things that you can control.
Yeah, control the things you can control. What can you control? Focus on that.
Yeah. I remember you said that. It's like, I'm not going to do anything different. I'm still going to wake up early. I'm still going to do my burpees, still going to do my cold showers, still going to eat right. Have you learned anything new in this time?
I learned that 56 days in a row of 4 days is harder than I thought.
4 days, 4 workouts a day.
I learned that going to bed 4 workouts a day. Let me move. For some reason, I'm getting a bad signal.
Oh, I see you good. Yeah, I got you good.
I also learned that going to bed before 8 a.m. is awesome. I also learned, what else did I learn? There's a lot of body weight exercise.
8 a.m. or 8 p.m.?
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
I love going to bed before. If I can get in bed before 8 p.m., oh my God, I am sleeping like a baby. What else? I also learned that it takes exactly 35 days to create a habit. I made my kids hike the mountain. Now for 55, on day 35, it was much easier. Everything changed. What else? I learned that I like gluten-free pancakes. I learned that I love Spartan tea and Spartan energy and Spartan hydration. I've been taking those like crazy because I happen to have a giant storage container here of them.
Yeah.
Love the RAM rollers. Here's one that I learned on the fitness side. We have a buddy locked down with us from an Olympic wrestler. And he lived in Russia for a year looking at why they get so many gold medals over there in wrestling. And he said, you don't see them lifting a lot of weights. You see them hiking mountains and climbing ropes. Hike mountains, climb ropes. And so that's what we've been making the kids do. Hike mountains, climb ropes. And well,
it's like Rocky IV, right? As soon as the Russian comes over here and starts doing the advanced scientific training, and then Rocky goes over there and climbs the mountains and starts chopping the wood. That's all he needed.
That's all he needed. So, yeah.
But I guess maybe if I can challenge you on that, has this challenge, I mean, obviously you had to furlough how many people, like this has challenged your business in so many ways. This hasn't gotten you to like, just changed your perspective on like the bigger picture at all? Or has it just reinforced it?
Well, it's definitely reinforced the fact that everybody needs to be healthy. I mean, the numbers just show that the reason we're having this problem is not the virus. The reason we're having this problem is self-inflicted wounds. We didn't take care of ourselves. We're not immune. As a country, we're not immune. As an individual, we're not immune. We're too fat and unhealthy. A lot of the people dying, this is going to sound terrible, but our healthcare system has probably kept them alive for the last 10 years. They probably should have died sooner. Now, that's not every single case, but when you look at it in whole, people that are unhealthy have a tough time fighting this virus. So we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our families, we owe it to the country to stay healthy. As far as our business goes, Spartan, it's a shit show. Furloughing 75% of the staff, being shut down in 45 countries, fucking disaster, right? I mean, based on the way the human mind works, I shouldn't have even taken your call. I should be crawled up in a black hole somewhere, crying and sleeping. But no, we're fighting through. I'm an optimist, and I just keep telling myself everything's going to be normal by July 1st. That's been my mantra for the last 60 days.
Are you operating under the assumption that there's going to be races this summer?
Yes.
Interesting. Is that just an optimistic viewpoint, or is there certain things that you've been told or you're looking at that make you believe that that's possible? Or what are you doing to prepare to make that possible?
I believe it's possible, and we're pushing the government hard to make it possible. If you want people, if you're worried about people being sick and dead, keep them in their rooms, in their houses, in their living rooms. If you want them healthy, get them some sunlight, get them sweating, get them running. By the way, it's a known fact. We need to be around other human beings to be healthy. So Spartan encapsulates all that. And listen, you can go to the fucking grocery store. There's a lot of people in the grocery store. You can go to Home Depot. You could even like Wide World of Wrestling, whatever that WWE shit is deemed unnecessary. Like, come on. There's all this stuff that we're allowing that I would argue Spartans are going to put you in less danger than the grocery store.
Oh, certainly. I mean, from like a holistic point of view, the fact that it's a younger, healthier population to begin with. People are training, they're getting, all the training is going to make them healthier. But what would you do if people went to a Spartan race and that became like, a whole bunch of people became infected there?
I'm going to sound silly when I say this, but I would order 10,000 vials of COVID and I would have everybody drink some right before they start. I'm a believer. I want to get everybody to build herd immunity. I do not want to hide from this thing. You can't hide from this thing. You're just delaying the inevitable.
That's true. That'd be an interesting new obstacle on your course. Climb the wall, swim through the cold water, lift the freaking heavy Atlas stone, and then drink the vial of COVID.
Maybe the dunk wall could be COVID.
Crazy, dude. But assuming that the government does allow it, do you feel that people are going to be ready to show up?
Oh, we ran some surveys in the last few weeks because there's a couple of states wide open. Like Missouri's wide open right now. We could have a race tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably Georgia too. You can go get a tattoo and then go do your Spartan and then get a Spartan tattoo in Georgia.
Exactly. So there's a couple of states that are open. We're hustling to get them open, and tens of thousands of people have already raised their hand and said we're in. So this community, they're animals in a good way, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no resistance at all. Like the worse the economy is, the more they Spartan. The more people are locked in their houses afraid, the more they Spartan. There's no holdback with this community.
And then what if the government doesn't allow things to open up? What's your plan?
A lot of content and a lot of merchandise sales until we come back. Mm-hmm. If they were to shut it down. But Trump is too pro-business he wants his election. He wants businesses to survive and thrive. So I don't see it.
So I was listening to the podcast, your Spartan Up podcast with your CMO, and you talking about where you were in Greece.
Yeah.
And your CMO kind of had been telling you for like a few months, like, hey, we got to watch out. This is coming. We need to be prepared. And you didn't really pay attention to it as much as you should have, or you said you should have.
I did not pay attention to it. I'm an optimist. I didn't believe in it. Italy had shut down. China had shut down on us. Japan had shut down. But I still had 42 countries operating. And when Trump shut the border down, I was stuck in Sparta. It really
Actual Sparta.
That woke me up. And I probably had 17 hours to travel, to get out of Sparta, make my way to Athens, Heathrow, and then to Boston. In that time is when I came up with the plan, which was we got to protect liquidity, got to make sure we're liquid and a viable operation. we've got to protect our customers and communicate with our customers ferociously, like lots and lots of content. And then we got to figure out how to take care of our people, even though we're going to have to furlough quite a bit of them.
So did you, because you weren't paying attention to that and you were too optimistic, do you feel that you were blindsided in a way that maybe being too optimistic now might blindside you this summer?
I mean, the only thing I could have done different, I think about that, is I could have ordered like 500,000 dumbbells, maybe. Right?
Kettlebells?
Yeah. I could have convinced myself that here's what's going to happen. We're all going to be locked in our homes. And I don't know. I subscribe to this idea that everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the face, right? Mike Tyson's quote.
Yep.
So I plan and adjust, and plan and adjust. And so
right.
the plan is that the world will be normal by July 1.
And if that doesn't happen, you adjust.
And if that doesn't happen, we adjust.
Are there certain, the Spartan Race is very metaphorical to me, and the different obstacles, I think each have its own metaphor. Are there certain obstacles that you're drawing more of a metaphor from the Spartan course? Does this feel more like the Atlas Stone to you, the cold plunge, the barbed wire, like climbing the rope?
I think I would need a new obstacle, the Sisyphus, where it never ends.
Oh,
like maybe
never ends.
Never ends. Like an Atlas ball carrier on a treadmill that just
Forever.
Can't put it down forever. Yeah, I would say it literally feels like forever. Every single day I wake up, I say, was this a dream? Here we go again.
It's kind of more like your Agogi, your death race.
This is like the death race for sure. So I probably have an advantage. All the death racers have an advantage that we are prepared for the worst.
Right. So I guess I want to end with a few burpees, because you said nothing kills fear like 30 burpees. So that's probably how we should end. But before we do the 30 burpees, what would be like your call to action to everybody out there listening right now for how they can maybe handle some of the anxiety that they might be feeling, other than the 30 burpees, which is how we'll end? How can we kind of come through this moment stronger together?
The standards never change. Whatever your standards were for yourself and your family and your friends before the virus, those are the standards now. As a matter of fact, make the standards more strict. So if you used to get up at 5, now you get up at 4:30, right? If you used to answer 100 emails a day, now you do 150. So standards never change. You have to sweat every day, not just go through the motions of a workout. You must break a sweat. Largest organ in the body is the skin. Break a sweat. It's going to release all kinds of things in the brain that are going to make you feel good. You got to do a cold shower. I mean, a minimum of 30 burpees a day. If you don't want to do them on cue, then do them every time you find yourself in your own head. Get some sleep, go to bed early, and make a plan and adjust, and make a plan and adjust. And if you still find yourself lost and broken and depressed, send me an email, joe@spartan.com. I'll get you up here on the farm and I'll kick your ass, and you'll be in shape in no time.
That'd be awesome. Well, I'd like to come up to the farm in any case. Nice up there.
Anytime, no problem.
All right, so are you up for 30 burpees?
I'm up for 30 burpees.
You're always up for 30 burpees. I'm gonna rest my phone against a tree here so I can do the burpees.
I might puke up my Spartan tea I just had.
All right.
Hang on a second. Let me find a spot here.
I got you.
All right, we're going down. Up.
Down,
Up. 2.
down,
Up. 3.
down,
4.
down,
Up. 5. Up. 6. Up. 7. Up. 8.
8.
Up. 9. Up. 10.
10.
Up. 11.
11.
Up. 12.
12.
Up. 13. Up. 14.
14.
Up. 15. 16.
16.
Up. 17.
17.
Up. 18.
18.
Up. 19.
19.
Up. 20.
20.
1.
21.
2.
22.
3.
23.
4.
24.
5. 6.
26.
7.
7. 8.
9.
9.
10.
30. Woo!
That was awesome.
Yeah, that'll get the fear out of you.
I told you.
That was great. Whew.
Your new fear is going to be calling me.
I'd love to do it again.
Anytime.
It's been great, Joe. Thank you for shaking me up.
All
I
right.
really needed it. Really needed it.
You're unbreakable. Whenever you need me, let me know. And I could use some help during the 4 workouts a day. So
All
maybe
right.
put me on your schedule.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, send me the info on that.
I will.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Every mile matters.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Woo!